Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In this video today we will be going over the Magicka Dragonknight for Elsweyr. Now, small disclaimer, Magicka Dragonknight is definitely fun to play with. I've been playing Dragonknight for many years. Whether it's a tank, a healer, stam, or mag DPS, I have absolutely fun with it. But now with that being said, a Magicka Dragonknight is a up close and personal DPS, and because of that, most in-game trials will not take them over stamina characters. So unless it's a newly formed guild, they're just starting, they're looking for people to go. It's going to be really hard to outperform stam characters. You're just not going to. So because of that, they kind of get pushed to the side for a lot of trials. But when it comes to random trials, looking for people in chat, maybe they're just looking for somebody to fill a slot, or four-man content. It works. They're fun to play with. So honestly, if a guild wants you to make something else, that way they can bring you in on trials and things like that, and they won't let you bring your mag DK, and that's what you're most comfortable with, I would highly suggest going to find another guild to play with. Because the character you're comfortable with can't go, then there's no point in putting you in an uncomfortable situation. So do bear in mind in that. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the build. Now, I'm a Briton, so it does help a little bit with sustain and things like that. But I have 64 points into Magicka. My max Magicka is 37.9k. I have 828 magic recovery. Max health 18.6k. Now, magic cover is relatively low, but between pots, ultimate, the fact that Britons have that nice reduction cost in abilities, what is it? I think like 6%, 6 or 7%. I don't have any trouble sustaining. So if you have a little more trouble sustaining, or if you're not all that comfortable with the Mag DK class and you need more recovery, you can always go Witch Mothers, because I am using the Double Bloody Mara, which gives me max Magicka and max health. Double Bloody Mara will give you some recovery, but your maximum health will drop to around 50.1, and your maximum Magicka will drop to around 34 and something, 34 point something. But your recovery go up to 1.2. So it's entirely up to you on what you want to use. Spell damage is 2k unbuffed, and spell crit is 59.1%. And the boon we are running is the Shadow. So, champion points. We are running 72 into Elfborn, 64 into Elemental Expert, 19 into Spell Erosion, 56 into Master at Arms, 19 into Staff Expert, and 40 into Thermometer. 28 Ironclad, 16 Spell Shield, 64 Hardy, 64 Elemental Defender, 21 Light Armor Focus, 40 Bastion, and 37 Quick Recovery. 23 into Warlord, 33 into Sprinter. The reason why this is so high is because we are a Magicka toon, so sprinting to keep up with the rest of the DPS and the tanks can be a pain, I guess. So to make sure we have the stamina to do it, that's what we're running. We got so many into Sprinter. We have 64 into Arcanus, 64 into Tenacity. Arcanus is your magic recovery there. So Tenacity increase the magic and stamina. Your fully charged heavy attacks restored by 13%. 49 into Tumbling, and 37 into Shadow War. Honestly, you can change these up whichever way you want. You just want 75 into this tree for the passive here to increase the quality items you find in treasure chests. This works great when you're out questing or when you're running dungeons and trials. Getting better items, better quality items, or just more items in general is always nice. So, monster sets. First set we are running, the monster set we are running is Sans. We're an up close and personal DPS. We got to be right there on the boss. So we're running Zons. Another set, if you do not have this, another set you can run. That is a nice little set to have. I do not have it here, so let me go to. Actually, I do have it. Here it is. Valken Scoria. This will give us max health And when you deal damage with a damage over time effect, you have an 8% chance to summon a meteor that deals 12.6k flame damage to the target and 5.5k flame damage to all other enemies within 5 meters. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds. This comes from City of Ash 2. Zon comes from Skullcaller. And easiest one to get though is probably Grothdar. So if you're starting out and you need that monster set, Grothdar would probably be the easiest one to get. It comes with Vaults of Madness on Vet. Adds Max Magicka. 2-piece, when you deal damage, you have a 10% chance to create lava pools that swirl around you, dealing 2.5k flame damage to all enemies within 8 meters of you every 1 second for 5 seconds. That can occur once every 10 seconds. Now, there is another one. When I say easiest, there's another one that is probably a little easier than that. It's Elaborous. This comes from Crypto Hearts 1. And this adds Max Magicka. When you deal flame damage or shock damage, you have a 10% chance to summon a meteor shower of that damage type that deals 1.6k damage to all enemies within 4 meters every 1 second for 5 seconds. Each effect can occur once every 8 seconds. So that comes from Crypto Hearts, Vaults of Madness, City of Ash 2, and Skullcaller Peak. All you guaranteed a helmet set on Vet. So, anyways, what Zon does is that this gives a spell crit. When you damage a nearby enemy with a light or heavy attack, you have a 20% chance to create a beam of fire that will connect you to your enemy. The beam deals 4.7k flame damage every 1 second to your enemy for 5 seconds. Every second this damage increases by 50%. The beam is broken if the enemy moves 8 meters away from you. This effect can occur every 18 seconds. Heavy helmet, medium shoulders, all with Max Magicka, all divines. We're running a 5-1-1 setup, which is 5 light, 1 medium, 1 heavy, for the Undaunted passives. Yeah, I think it's like a 6% increase into our max health. And let me go down here. Yep. 6% into your max health. Increase your max health, stamina, and magicka by 2% per type of armor. Heavy, medium, and light. We have 1 of each. Well, we have 5 light, but then we have 1 heavy and 1 medium as well, so we get the 6% increase in stats right here. Second 5-piece set we are running is Mother's Sorrow. We're running all of it on the divine, all of it divines, all of it on the body. And what this set does is that it gives us Max Magicka, gives us 833 spell critical, 833 spell critical, and then 1.9k spell critical. This set comes from Deshawn. You can farm this from world bosses, public dungeons, and delve bosses. This is where you get the body pieces. If you're wanting to run this in jewelry, then you farm dolmens to get the jewelry, and the weapons come from world bosses and the public dungeon bosses as well. So we're running this on the front bar because it is a static set. So if we were to bar swap and it was only on our front bar, then it would not stay static, and we want to keep this thing static at all times. So jewelry, we're running. So the second 5-piece set we are running is Sororious. We're running it on the jewelry, and we're running it an infused flame staff on our front bar with a flame damage enchant on it. On the traits on the jewelry, we're running 1 infused with spell damage enchant and 2 bloodthirsty, both with spell damage enchant. Now what this does, it gives us spell damage, gives us minor slayer at all times, increasing your damage done to dungeon, trial, and arena monsters by 5%, gives us Max Magicka, and dealing direct damage with a single target ability creates a ring of fire beneath you for 10 seconds. This effect can occur once every 10 seconds. Then in the ring grants you a stack of Sororious Boon for 5 seconds. Each stack increases your spell damage by 20 stacks max. Now what this does is that essentially we get this from Cloud Rest. You can get jewelry by doing plus, honestly I think you can get it doing +2, maybe, or maybe it's just purple at +3. Don't hold me to that, I could be wrong, because honestly I've only ever done it on +0 and +3 when it comes to normal. So I'm not entirely certain, but I do know you get purple jewelry at +3. So what this does is that you can get purple jewelry through there. The weapons you can just farm on +0 or get it out of the copper. If you don't have Cloud Rest, which is the new trial from, well, I can't say new trial. It was the trial with Somerset when that expansion came out. If you don't have that, or you don't necessarily, you're having trouble getting a group to farm Cloud Rest, because I can understand being in there, if there's not communications, people don't want to be on mic, or people don't want to listen, it can get hectic having to go downstairs and send shards down. I don't know what it is about that trial, but it seems like everybody forgets what they're supposed to do when it comes to that trial. So I understand. Sometimes I've been in random groups, pugs, where we just did not finish it for whatever reason. We just couldn't do it. So, if that's the case, Burning Spellweave, which comes from City of Ash, is a very nice replacement to have for this set. Mother Sorrow and Burning Spellweave is actually really solid. Um, Let me go ahead and pull that up. I'll pull up Burning Spellweave real quick. What this does is that you just used a Inferno Staff. It has max magicka, spell damage, spell critical, and when you deal damage with a flame damage ability, you have 15% chance to apply the burning status effect to the enemy and increase your spell damage by 525 for 8 seconds. This effect can occur once every 12 seconds. So, it is a nice little set to have as a backup. Even that, Mother Sorrow, Sororia, and Burning Spellweave is all a nice set to have. Those three, always great to have those three sets. Backbar, we're running a Maelstrom Inferno Staff infused with a shock damage enchant. Of course, this comes from Vet Maelstrom. Very, very complicated dungeon to do. If you don't have it, then you can always just put whatever staff you want here, or you can just, if you can get a second Sororia's Inferno Staff, go for it, or a Mother Sorrow Staff, or Willpower Staff. It's whatever, as long as it's Inferno. So, skills. Front bar, the first skill we run is Molten Whip. Now this got a buff this patch. Lash an enemy with a flame dealing 8.7k flame damage. If you strike an enemy that is immobile or stunned, you set them off balance. While slotted, whenever you activate a different ardent flame ability, you gain a stack of Seething Fury, which increases the damage of your next Molten Whip by 33%. Your weapon and spell damage by 125 for 5 seconds. This stacks up to 3 times. So you have to use a flame ability. Okay. So looking at our front bar, Flames of Oblivion, Engulfing Flames, Burning Embers. Now, if you want to get the effect from Flames of Oblivion, because we are running that on our back bar, you could, I guess, you could put Inner Light, take that off, and put Molten Whip there, but you would not use it on your back bar. It would just be there to receive the stacking from Flames of Oblivion. But Engulfing Flames and Burning Embers helps us enough with that. So, of course, if you want to max this 3 stacks, then you would. But you really only cast this every second rotation, so you're missing out on it anyway. So I just have Inner Light on the back bar. Seems to work out better for me. But anyways, second ability, Burning Embers, slash an enemy with a flame, dealing 4.4k flame damage and an additional 12.9k flame damage over 10 seconds. Heals you for 75% of total damage inflicted when the effect ends. Engulfing Flames, exhale flame blast to enemies in front of you, dealing 6.5k flame damage and an additional 9.9k flame damage over 10 seconds. Affected enemies take 10% more damage from all fire damage attacks. Here's our shield, Harness Magicka. You can also use Dampening Magicka if you like. It would be a stronger shield. But this right here helps us with some resource management. Surround yourself with a net of magic negation to absorb up to 7.4k damage over 6 seconds. Damage shield strength capped at 40% of your max health. While active up to 3 times when spell damage is absorbed, you restore 1.1k magic. Each piece of light armor worn increases the magic restored by 6%. Then we have Inner Light. You're never going to cast this ability. You're only using it for the second sentence there, or paragraph. While slotted, your max magicka is increased by 5%, and you gain Major Prophecy, increasing your spell critical rating by 2.1k. And then our ultimate is the Fiery Rage ultimate, the Destro ult. Create a catalytic storm at the target location that builds for 2 seconds, then lays waste to all enemies in the area, dealing 9.2k flame damage every 1 second for 7 seconds. Now, we are using, if you have your Major skill leveled up to level 10, you can get Meteor. If you want to use Meteor over the Destruction Staff, you can. You just use Shooting Star, and what this would do is that it will give you, what this does is it calls a comet down from the constellations to blast an enemy, dealing 15k flame damage to all enemies in the area, knocking them down and stunning them for 2 seconds. After impact, enemies in the target area take 4.7k flame damage every 1 second for 11.8 seconds. You generate 12 ultimate for each enemy hit by the initial blast. So Shooting Star is a nice ultimate to use, but honestly, for the most part, you're not going to use Fiery Rage either. The main ultimate that we use is the one on our back bar. But having Shooting Star on your front bar would help with some of the passives here. Increase your max Magicka and Magicka by 2% for each major skilled ability slotted. We only have one slotted, so if you put Shooting Star on your front bar, you would have 4% extra recovery and max Magicka on your front bar instead of 2%. But that is up to you. I like my disc roll right there, just in case. I don't know. It's a comfort thing, really. So, if you want Shooting Star there, go right ahead. Back bar, blockade of fire. Slam your staff down to create a flaming barrier in front of you, dealing 2k flame damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second. Burning enemies take 20% more damage from this ability. Having this down also increases their light and heavy attacks due to the Maelstrom staff. That's why we want to keep this down as well. Eruption, summon a scorching cloud of ash at the target location, reducing enemy movement speed by 70%, and deals 1.9k flame damage every 1 second. Deals 6.5k flame damage immediately. This is an 18 second. This lasts for 18 seconds. You will cast this on every second rotation. You will not cast this every rotation. So as you lay it down, you're going to lay this down, you're going to lay your wall of elements down, or your blockade of fire. You're going to bar swap, engulfing flames, burning embers, couple of molting. You can usually get off 2 to 3 molting whips, depending on how well you are with the rotation. You're going to back bar, wall of elements, flame of oblivion, because this lasts for 15 seconds. So you want this going on. You want them going on every other rotation, and then engulfing flames, burning embers, couple of whips, bar swap, wall of elements, eruption, bar swap, and just repeat. And when you see this getting low, you'll cast that. You'll cast that and then bar swap. So, because this lasts for 36 seconds. So, anyways, Flames of Oblivion, like I said, second rotation cast. Activate an aura of flames which launches a fireball at 2 enemies every 5 seconds, dealing 6.6k flame damage. While slotted, you gain Major Prophecy and Major Savagery, increasing your spell and weapon critical rating by 2.1k. This ability scales with your highest offensive stats. But we already have Major Prophecy from Inner Light. So, Channeled Acceleration. Bend time and space around you to gain Major Expedition for 12 seconds and Minor Force for 36 seconds. Increase your movement speed by 30% and critical damage by 10%. If you don't have this comes from the Sigil Order skill line. If you don't have this, you can always go with Rearming Trap. Trap Beast, Rearming Trap. What this does is that set a sharpened blade trap at your location, which takes 1.5 seconds to arm, lasts for 1 minute. When triggered, the trap deals 1k physical damage and additional 2.6k physical damage over 6 seconds. Mobilizes the enemy for 6 seconds, grants you minor force, increasing your critical damage by 10%. After being triggered, the trap resets and be triggered 1 more time. If that's the case, then you're going to want, if you're using this over the Sigil, the Channel Acceleration, you're going to cast this at the end of every rotation. So before you bar swap, you'll throw down Rearming Trap again, and then bar swap. So, and honestly, Inner Light, if you're okay with, like first bar, you gotta have it double slotted for the max Magicka. If you're not too worried about that max Magicka dropping off, honestly, you really don't have to be. You can put Molten Whip on the back bar, but to me, I wasn't getting as much use out of it. I mean, if you're all for, getting that little extra spell damage every couple rotations, then put it on the back bar, by all means, because you're going to cast Flames of Oblivion every couple of rotations. So you're going to get this going, and then you'll bar swap, and then 2, and then 3, and then you'll have the full 3 stacks, and then you can Molten Whip. It's entirely up to you if you want to use that like that or not. But I would just replace Inner Light on that back bar with it. It's not that big of a deal. Max Magicka drops to 34.6k over it. Have an Inner Light. So instead of having 34.6k, 37.9, you drop. So you drop a good 3.3k Max Magicka. So it's up to you on what you like. That 3.3, I like having it on my bar at all times. It just, honestly, I don't know. That's just a me thing. If it doesn't matter that much to you, then by all means, replace Inner Light with Molten Whip. And then finally, our ultimate, Stand to Our Might, call down a battle standard dealing 3.2k flame damage every 1 second for 18 seconds to enemies and applying major defiled healing, reducing their healing received and health recovery by 30%. Standing in the area increases your damage done and reduces damage taken by 50%. An ally near the standard can activate the Shackle synergy, dealing 9.5k flame damage to enemies in the area and mobilizing them for 5 seconds. So, this is the main ultimate that we're going to use. The reason why we're going to use this is for the extra increase in the 15% damage and the flame damage there. You do not want to start with this. If you want to start with an ultimate, start with your Destra ult. You do not, if you want to hold on to it and use that one, then you're going to want to put your dots down and then use this, because you want your dots ticking. This is pretty much a dot, that's a dot, that's a dot. So we are 3 back, 2, 3. So we have 5 dots on our bar and then 1 single target, more or less. So you want your dots going before you put this down. Because if you put this down, then start putting your dots down, by the time you get all your dots down, you're going to miss out on a huge chunk of damage that you could have had if you'd already had your dots doing when you put this down. So this is not an ultimate you start the fight with. It's more or less an ultimate that you use more or less on your 3rd or 4th rotation. Or the start of your 3rd or 4th rotation. You don't want to start with it. If you want to start ultimate, you use Fiery Rage or Meteor if you're using that. But yeah, that is the Magicka DK. I still have a lot of fun with it, and I'm still looking forward to using this on console. And until next time, I'll take care and have fun.